Hi, welcome to today's video. This is something that I have asked if you wanted to see maybe a year ago. Here we are, you know, that always happens, but I still will always deliver. I just wanted to wait until spring again to post a video about plants because it felt seasonal almost. Also today, the day that I am filming this, is Earth Day, and I just thought it would be perfect. Here we are, as you can tell by the title, today's video is all about easy houseplants for beginners. I myself consider myself like a novice beginner at this point. I started my plant journey about a year and a half ago when I bought my first chunk of babies right before the battery already died, so I had to go change that. But as I was saying, I started my plant journey about a year and a half ago, and I've learned a lot since then. If you want to see my full plant collection, I do have a video called my 100 plus plant tour in my apartment. I'll link that above as well as down below. For the most part, that is still pretty accurate. Of course, I've gained a lot of new children since then and unfortunately lost a couple, but for the most part, the strong ones are still here. Today, I just wanted to focus on some of the plants that I found to be the easiest for me when I started taking care of plants seriously. The ones that I would recommend to people that maybe didn't know much like I didn't know when I first started. I feel like I've learned so much, especially through quarantine when really all I had were my plants, and I've picked up on some favorites, ones that work well for me, ones that don't, and I've really learned how to read a plant, if that makes sense. I just feel so much more grounded and connected to them now and really able to tell what they need, when they need it, and yeah, I don't know. Plants are just the best thing ever and I love them so much. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you do too. Anyway, this video is kind of like a built-in plant tour because I'm gonna take you around, go through all of the plants and tell you which ones I would recommend to someone that maybe has never taken care of a plant before or has really bad luck with them in the past or isn't really sure what to choose or handle and all of that. This video is for you. So before we get started, please give this a thumbs up. Comment down below your favorite type of plant or what plant babies you have in your home. Subscribe if you want to see more plant content or not. I post a lot of other random content, but there will be more plant content in the near future because big things are coming. Hint, hint. Anyway, let's get started. So I have a little mental list of 4 specific types of plants and then some more vague species, I guess, after that. The first one being pothos. There's so many different varieties of pothos. Also, pothos, pothos, pathos. I've heard people say every single variation of it. I am so sorry if I am wrong, but pothos is probably the easiest plant to take care of. Let me show you some examples. Starting with the very first pothos that I ever received in my office. We have this little guy. I have made so many cutlings from this pothos, which is why it doesn't look like it's grown for how long I've had it. This is a satin pothos. The main reason why pothos are so easy is because they can thrive in so many different environments. It's up here on a shelf. It doesn't get direct sunlight, but there's a south window and a west window in this room, so it definitely grows really quickly, and I water it about once a week, but these guys are super hard to kill. Honestly, they're just really easy. I also have a queen pothos up here. This is actually a cutting from a main pothos in my living room. Pothos are awesome because they will grow viney, so it's already starting to grow off the side. For a cutting, she's doing really well. I also have a newer pothos hanging up here still in the nursery pot, but again, she is thriving. They're an awesome hanging plant too, so if you're looking for something to hang that will kind of grow viney, pothos are your go-to guy because, oh gosh, this one is crazy. So I actually have 4 more pothos on this shelf. Look at this cutting from a queen pothos. This is insane. Look at how much it's grown. I can't believe it. This started as a little stem cutting from that pothos up there and it just took off. This, I swear, happened overnight. I cannot believe it started as just a little cutting and now it's its own plant. Here is one of the cuttings from the satin pothos in my office that I showed you. So I actually put 3 cuttings into this little pot and look, it's growing new little leaves. So it's doing really well. This is also a cutting from this main mother plant that I got at the nursery. However, I'm pretty sure this is a golden pothos because it doesn't look like the queen pothos I received. It just looks like a different variation. Her vine is kind of curving upward, but again, this was just a cutting along with this cutting when I bought that plant last summer, and now they are their own, they're like grown-ups and they're doing so well. I love the story behind this pothos because I received it from my parents' house. It only had 2 leaves. It was this leaf. I think it was this leaf, but it came with just 2, so I called her Eve from the movie WALL-E when they found that one little like plant with the little leaf, because that's what it looked like. And again, pothos are just so easy, one of the easiest plants that I've ever had. Low maintenance, they thrive in so many different environments. They're not that picky. I feel like they're really good at taking care of themselves. I actually have one more pothos in my kitchen. I have another golden pothos up there as well. She has definitely taken off. I also love the look of this pot against the yellow and the blue and the green. So pretty. We are starting to grow downward. Like, look at that. When I bought this plant, it definitely did not have that vine. If you ever want to multiply your plants, pothos are great at propagating. So you just find a little node, which are these little baby roots that you can kind of see. You just cut near a node, stick it into water, and they will grow roots. Then you'll have more. And that's how I have so many pothos, because I kept propagating mine. I almost forgot about this baby, but I do have another cutting of the pothos from this plant. I literally took so many cuttings, like this cutting, the one in my office, all came from that pothos. But again, she's doing so well, like growing. They just grow. They literally just take off. I think those are all the pothos that I have. It's just like such a pretty, really easy plant that does well in almost any area of the house. My next favorite plant that I would recommend for beginners, because again, it does not require a lot of care and does really well in any room of the house, are actually snake plants. We've got this ginormous snake plant over here. We've got this snake plant over here. Now this type of snake plant and the one I just showed you are called mother-in-law's tongues because they have really long stems like a mother-in-law's tongue. It's kind of funny. They will not grow quickly in darker areas, but they won't die. This has a north-facing window and she's alive and thriving. That one is alive and thriving. This plant was actually from Trader Joe's. It had a baby since I bought it and it grew tremendously. I actually recently had to repot it and it already seems like it needs a new pot. Super easy. Snake plants are so low maintenance. You just wait for them to completely dry out and then you water them. Look at how beautiful it is. Oh my goodness. This is a south-facing window and she is thriving. Definitely grew a lot quicker than my other snake plants. This snake plant, I don't really know what to think. I've had it for over a year and she's growing. So this is another snake plant of mine. Then I actually have a snake plant up here, which has grown so much. It came from the same pot that snake plant actually came from. And oh, you can see little babies coming up. But snake plants are just awesome because you can put them literally anywhere in your house. Yes, they do prefer direct sunlight and I would highly recommend putting them in a south or west facing area so they get a lot of direct sun, but they're super sturdy. So if you want to put them in another room in your house, like the ones I have in my kitchen, they're still alive and thriving. Although I definitely know when I move into my house, hopefully soon, I will be putting all of my plants, you know, out on like a balcony in direct light, like the ones that need it. So the snake plants will get their time to shine very soon. But yeah, snake plants are awesome. They make really great gifts. I always see them at Trader Joe's. So if you're thinking of something sweet to get like a friend, maybe pick them out something from Trader Joe's as like a little plant. I always love those for gifts. Now the next favorite house plant that I own that I recommend for beginners is actually right here on this shelf. It is a philodendron. Philodendrons are one of the few plants that actually prefer to be in shade. So as you can tell, it's tucked away in this corner. Yes, there's a big window right here, but it doesn't get a lot of direct light. It does get a lot of natural lighting, but philodendrons are great for shadier rooms because they're kind of used to growing like on the forest floor where the trees cover the sun. I've had this for almost a year. I got this when I redid my bedroom last summer and it is just taking off. Like, look at all of this growth. It's amazing. So it's literally the only plant on this entire bookshelf that I have managed to keep alive because it really likes the environment. It's growing this little vine right now and I actually propagated a piece of it. I'll show you that in a second, but look at how beautiful it is. I love the coloring. Again, really hard to kill. Philodendrons are very similar to pothos and I water this maybe once a week once it dries out, but she's thriving. Like, look at that. I'm so happy. So I highly recommend philodendrons. I'll show you the cutting that I propagated. This is the little philodendron propagation. I did just water it this morning, so that's why the soil looks so moist, but it dries out a lot quicker since it's such a small pot. I believe it only had like 1 or 2 leaves when I cut it and propagated it in water, and now we have little growth in here. So now I have this little baby philodendron plant. Again, an awesome plant to multiply and get more bang for your buck, really, but super easy. Speaking of easy plants, we have my ZZ plant, which again is a very easy plant. These are notorious underneath like their name, like ZZ plants, for being really easy houseplants. And I definitely agree. You know, you don't have to water it that often. It doesn't need picky lighting. I have it right here in this north facing window and it's thriving. Highly recommend a ZZ plant. I've never had any issues with it. It's grown so tall so quickly. I actually should probably repot this soon. Yeah, could not recommend this enough. Never had any problems with it ever. I wanted to mention a few other really easy small plants that I would recommend that I have never had an issue keeping alive. So over here I have a lot of my more tropical like cacti and succulents that need direct sun. As you can see, we have a west facing window, so they get a lot of direct lighting. Cannot recommend cacti enough because you don't do much with them. You water them when it's completely dried out, maybe like every 3 weeks or so, depending on the pot and where you have the plant. All of these plants have been alive for over a year. Also, look at the little plant pot friend. It's Dory. My brother made me that. I have a few more plant pot friends back there. Out of all of the types though, I highly recommend this bunny cactus. Look, it's growing babies. I'm so proud of it. They're all easy, like great barrel cactus, the moon cactus, the bunny-eared cactus, literally all of them. Like, don't feel like you have to mess with them. If you have an area with direct sunlight for most of the day, like south or west facing windows, stick a cactus there, water it when it is completely dry, and then for the most part, just leave it alone and it will thrive. And then I also have a few more cactus in my office. This cactus, I am so proud of this cactus. First of all, I bought this from IKEA when I first moved into this apartment when I knew nothing about plants. I had this in the kitchen, zero direct sunlight, never watered it, didn't know what I was doing. It's still here. And the second that I realized what I was doing and put it in this room with the sun, it had a baby. It immediately procreated. This is the strongest cactus I know because I've had it for years and I definitely was not taking care of it properly, but that is why I recommend cacti so much because they do not need you. They will be just fine. I also have this little Easter lily cactus over here. I also grabbed this African milk tree cactus from IKEA. There are honestly just so many different types of cactus plants available, so definitely pick out some beautiful ones that really speak to you. I'm trying to think if there are any other really easy plants in here. I feel like I own a lot of like medium level challenging plants that I struggled with and then quickly learned what to do, but there are definitely some plants that I've had that through experience I've realized are really easy, like the Sweetheart Hoya. I literally never touch. I water it very sparingly. It hasn't changed in like the year and a half that I've owned it. I know some people feel like it's kind of a ripoff because nothing happens to them, but they're gorgeous. This jade plant has grown so much since I bought it and I really feel like I don't do much to it. I water it maybe like every 3 to 4 weeks or whenever it gets dry, and that's that. Fertilize it of course when needed, but from experience I'd say this is an easy plant because it's one of the first ones I bought. It's still alive. In fact, it's doing really well because it's growing. This is the second pot that I've had to pot it in, and I've had really good luck with aloes as well, but I know aloe veras can be kind of tricky. This is my strongest one, and the second I repotted it, she just grew and grew and grew. Had the best luck with that aloe. This one's hanging on. There was a crisis a few months ago, but she's doing okay. We have this aloe, which is thriving, this tiger tooth aloe, that zebra aloe. Maybe I recommend aloes as well, but now I'm just getting carried away and wanting to share with you all of my plants. That is going to be it for the plants that I would recommend for beginners. Obviously, I have a ton more plants. For the ones that I would recommend to like friends or family or people that would ask me like what's a good plant to start with, then I would probably say pothos, snake plant, or philodendrons. Those are the easiest ones. Let me know if you're curious in seeing like challenging plants that I've kept alive or an updated plant tour or anything like that, and I can get that filmed. But I know when I move, which hint hint, I will be doing an updated plant tour in my new house. So that is coming for sure, as well as house content, so please subscribe. But thank you so much for watching. Definitely follow me on Instagram. Happy Earth Day, even though this is coming out in 2 weeks. I will see you next week with a very exciting house episode. Oh, okay. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you then. Bye. I was so hurt and upset that I never gave him another chance.